Well, so what a weekend, hey? I've come on a little bit earlier. I know normally I'm going to be doing a Monday morning to start us all off, but I've come on Sunday evening because there's a couple of reasons why. And so tomorrow's a really busy day. So that's number one. I think it's going to start out really running, and it's running all the way right through till late on tomorrow night. So I thought, well, let's just get in there tonight. And then that's one lovely thing because there's plenty to talk about anyway. So the key points are, this weekend it's been quite moving, and I know I just come from a beautiful remembrance service because it's All Souls Eve and a lot of church services today. And the whole weekend has been about being able to connect and remember our loved ones who've passed, ancestors, call back our strengths from previous generations and connect with those we love and who have passed, and those who have continued to pass even in the last few days. So it's quite a time to be deeply reflective, and that's what I've really allowed myself to lean into this weekend, and I'm sure some of you have been too, and I know some of you have been too. So Friday was also, as much as it can be, quite dark in that way. It goes dark, everyone's starting to get a little bit more like cocooning in, and that's a really important message actually for where we are at the moment. Is starting to lean into the slower pace now. The clocks have gone back, the nights have got darker, so we're kind of all done. Like there's not much to be done other than indoorsy stuff or night hikes with a with a head torch and a lot of warm clothing over here. So it is more of a calling to go inward again. So yeah, everything's slowing down and some rest and recuperation coming, but not before we've sort of sat and reflected on where we're at and what we're gaining from this time when the veil is so thin. And it's a reminder that when the veil is thin, it's a reminder that we can reach through to souls who have passed and have some really flavored conversations with them, and conversations not necessarily like with our voice, but just sensations and feelings, being able to speak to them through our offerings and through thinking of them and sending prayers and love and remembering them. And so that's a very special thing to do this weekend, lighting a candle and popping it in the window and just writing maybe a letter. But it's also a time we can connect with ancestral energy. So those who've gone on before us, on whose head and shoulders we stand, and sort of feeling into and thinking what our ancestral strengths are, what our ancestors brought for us, and to think about the beautiful situations we may each be in this lifetime. So pulling on the threads of gratitude for what we have, and really recognizing the wonderful things that we do have for so many of us at this time of year, as well as remembering the losses of the beautiful souls that have been around us. And that is changing all the time and every day and every moment. So it can be quite deeply reflective in that way. And, the Reiki energy I find really helps, to improve our relationship with death and passing. It helps to get an understanding of how energy continues and how it doesn't end, it switches from one form into another. And so when this veil is so thin, as they say, that's the calling of it, but really it just means that because of our collective consciousness always having had this time of year, it's like the end of the year and the beginning of a new cycle. It's well known for a time when we can really connect with loved ones, and that just is created therefore a sort of portal where we can do that. So in that portal, it means that we can connect, and then we can work with that energy to have a feeling for what what we learned from those who've passed, and what messages they bring, what strengths they hold for us, and how we can sit to bring that and have those intentions into our lives. It doesn't take away the pain of losing. And from the church service I was in today, that was one of the most powerful emotions. One of them was overwhelming sadness and like a very strong physical pain in the heart, in my heart chakra, which was also true for myself, but it was also for a really strong feeling of loss. You can just feel the emptiness that sits when souls that have passed. You know, it does leave a void within that. You know, Reiki helps to support, and we can fill with the gratitude of remembrance of what the gifts were that they had. But of course, there's no quick and fast track way of moving through that space other than allowing ourselves to enter it and to hold our own hearts and hands when we go in there, and gift ourselves with some time to transmute that energy from what it is physically, sensation wise in our body, through tears, remembrance, acts of ritual, lighting a candle in the window, writing a letter to a deceased or loved one, writing some positive intentions around the strengths that they had, thinking of a relative and writing to them, doing a kind act. Those kind of things we can do to help us to ease that feeling and give the love. But that's the most important thing for ourselves, is to give the love into that space. So, you know, a big part of that is cocooning down and recognizing that perhaps there's been a really busy, in the bright summertime, where we often heal our wounds through doing, you know, doing a lot of stuff and being out and fulfilling with the energy of the sun, you know, working with the sun energy to get things done and to see and visit and remember being alive. That's sometimes the best way we can honor the dead in that energy. But we can also, as we now come into winter, we can start to honor ourselves with deep rest. And that was something that I was really blessed to be able to do yesterday. We went over to Shropshire and spent a day with Kirsty, Jantrell and Tim Wild, who does the practical ascension pathway. So in that space, we're very much leaning into a really soft space for ourselves. And within seconds of receiving the individual blessing that we each got, I was able to access that space within myself that I've been wanting to get to, but had been holding at bay whilst I was just completing the things that I needed to do and getting to the point where I was ready to lean into myself more deeply. And so that is the message at the moment, is just giving ourselves the opportunity to cocoon and go into ourselves a bit more, to rest, to allow ourselves, give ourselves permission to rejuvenate. So that's the message for our November selves. And in that vein, I have also been really, really called of late to take my own personal practice deeper. So it's fun how that's going to work out, because I am also one of the spaces where I do some Reiki coaching, and for at an RDA centre nearby called Scropton, they are celebrating 60 years. So they're doing something called 60 for 60. And in that, it means that for 60, 60 beautiful things we need to think of doing in order to receive money. so that they then get to try and make up their total. I'll put all the details in the comments, but essentially you can take up an ambition for to do 60 times. You could swim 60 lengths. You could write 60 poems, or you could write 60 stories, or 60 words, or have 60 powerful intentions, or all manner, and walk 60 miles. There's so many different things that, and get sponsored for it, or donate to the charity because of that. So I was like, right, well, here we go. This is how I do, this is how I take myself into a space where I can do more for me to help my own healing, as I'm being called to do, but in turn also offer some alms for that. So I shall pay alms to Scropton at the end of the month. I will pay my dues. I believe I'm going to pay £60 at the moment because it makes sense. And every day to get to the 60, I'm going to do 2 hours of self-care items. So that might be, well, it's going to be an hour of chanting meditation in the morning, and then an hour of movement meditation, yogic practice in the afternoon. And also my usual Reiki practice, self-Reiki and healing. So it's not like I'm going to cheat and sort of switch it up. I'm going to continue on my usual self-care practices, and then add these in. Now, the challenge is, can I do that? Because I already pack a lot into my day, but I think I can. And inspired from this weekend, with the bodies I've been with, who, particularly Tim Wilde, who was doing his own version of a meditation that Kirsty sent to him. And when I saw he was doing that, I was like, okay, well, then I can see that this is something that's happening. This is something that a lot of people are being called to right now. And I thought, well, yeah, okay, that's like, it's definitely something we can find the space to do. So it just means that I will get up an hour earlier and I will do that meditation first thing. It's called a sadhana meditation. I'm going to do it first thing in the morning before I do, well, I'll do my Reiki practice first, then I will do that. Then it means I'll have to get to bed really early. So I think that will help, and it will all help with the sleep. So it feels like a really lovely sort of self-care package. So I'll probably do a video to talk about that in itself, and share. But and I would like to invite anyone to join me on that. So if there's anyone who wants to know what I'm doing and have a bit more details and even take part as well, then I'll share all that with you quite happily, so you can do it. And I'd even happily do that online if you want to join me on Zoom at those morning and evening things to sort of make it part of your ritual. So 30 days is the key thing throughout all of November. So 30 days, 2 hours a day makes 60. So that's how it's going to be. And I feel that deeply honors the self-care and healing on a deep level. It takes us deeper, it takes me deeper. It will help to support all the practice that I'm doing. It will help me to really understand so much more, I'm sure, because otherwise I wouldn't be being called to do it. And it will provide a very clear space for healing, and it will determine how much time I actually do waste as opposed to actually, because we'll see what slides. But I think it's a powerful way to enter this time where we are cocooning, because it's like, right, I'm going to get into my cave and be like a bear, make like a bear, and hibernate for the winter now. So I love that. It's really nice. The bit that's tricky is if we don't own it like that and see it like, oh, it's dark, and it's easy to think like that. But it's like, okay, well, let's look at where the positives are in all of this. So that's it. That's where I'm at. And so that's the kind of weekly update. So yes, if you would like to know more, and if you'd like to donate to Scropton, the link will be in the comments. And if you'd like to join me, let me know, and I can send you all the details. And if you are I can just feel so much on my heart. If you are struggling with anyone who's passed, then my heart and love goes out to you today, and I send you Reiki blessings. Let us just close this session with just a very gentle step inwards. Just to honor this time, this night, this weekend, this veil, this thinning, this potential to connect with all that is not seen with the eyes, but all that can be felt and experienced through our third eye. And that part of us that doesn't need things to be physical in order for them to be experienced. I'm just taking a very gentle, open heart and mind to allow ourselves to experience that which we need to see as we move into November, gifting ourselves that potential to gently unfurl and recline into depths of winter, opening our hearts to the experiences, feeling the heart chakra expanding in love, and gifting ourselves that love, calling in the holy fire Reiki. There's a beautiful divine blessing, a little flame going directly into your very soul, igniting all the parts of you that are ready to rejuvenate, those parts of you that need nurturing and love, and those parts of you that maybe miss somebody, a person, an animal, or a place. It's no longer accessible to you in physical. It's saying to your heart, energetically, it never changes, it's always there. They are always there to connect with and receive their love and wisdom, the frequencies that you've always received when you're in their company or in that place. And in turn, you feel that softness in your heart as you allow yourself to experience love. Just also feeling like you're sending beautiful golden arrows of love directly out, shooting them out into those loved ones, seeing it connect with them. Sparks of light, like fireworks that are coming out of your heart, shooting out. You might see your loved one lit up by the sparks of light, and those shards of light just gently connecting with them, putting their soul on fire so that they can continue their journey. Wherever it is that they need to be on their highest possible path. Ask all of this, the light of Reiki. And I ask that for you now. And sending so much love and blessings. Maybe wrapped in a beautiful bear hug that holds you. And brings you that strength. And with that strength comes deep empowerment. And with that empowerment comes deep wisdom. And within that wisdom, you can access a sensation of pure bliss and joy. Dance in a light, pure soul magic. As you realize that there is no separation. So be it. Amen. Sending so many more blessings. And I look forward to seeing you soon.